Ladies and gentlemen, listen to me. If they never call or text you first, just do this. Step back. Take a moment. Breathe. See, life's too short to sit around waiting for someone else to make you feel seen, heard, or loved. When they don't call or text first, it's time for you to ask yourself, what am I doing in this situation? What am I waiting for? And if your answer is nothing, then guess what? It's time for you to take control. Self-worth comes from within, not from others. You got to know your value, and you need to make sure that your presence is never underestimated, your time never wasted. If someone's not reaching out, it's not a reflection of your worth. It's a reflection of their priorities. And let me tell you something, you don't have time for people who don't make you a priority. Now, communication is key. If they're not reaching out, it's time for you to communicate your feelings. Speak up. Say what's on your mind. But do it in a way that respects yourself. Don't beg. Don't chase. Just ask the questions that matter. Why am I always the one to initiate? Why do I always feel like I'm the only one putting in the effort? You deserve clarity, and you're worthy of respect. But here's the real key: empower yourself through action. When they don't call, don't text, or don't show interest, don't sit around feeling sorry for yourself. Take that energy and put it into what really matters: your goals, your growth, your passions. Whether it's your career, your education, or personal development, don't let other people's inactions define your path. Recognize the red flags. If someone isn't reaching out to you, it's a sign that maybe they're not as invested as you are. And let me tell you something, life is too short to be giving your time to people who don't value it. Recognize when the effort isn't mutual. When it's one-sided, it's time to make a decision. And that decision is to move forward. So let me wrap it up with this: take charge of your life. Don't wait for someone else to define your worth. Don't wait for that text, that call, that validation. When you take control, you send a message to the universe that you're ready. You're ready for better. You're ready for people who value you. But first, you have to value yourself. So when they don't call or they don't text, don't sit there waiting. Make your move. Live your life. Own your greatness. Keep moving forward, because the world's got much more to offer you than someone's silence. Now, I want to talk about this in detail. In today's world, where we're constantly surrounded by social media messages and the pressures of instant communication, it's easy to lose sight of one very important thing: your own value. Your worth is not determined by others. It's not something that can be measured by how many likes you get on a post or how often someone reaches out to you. It's something that comes from deep within yourself, something that is inherently yours, regardless of how others behave or treat you. Understanding your self-worth begins with recognizing that you are enough, just as you are. You don't need anyone's validation to prove your worth. You don't need others to constantly check in, to call you first, or to shower you with attention for you to know that you're valuable. Your worth is inherent. It's built upon the foundation of who you are, your experiences, your journey, and your uniqueness. You are not defined by how someone treats you or by whether or not they make the effort to connect. If someone is only reaching out to you when it's convenient for them, or if you're always the one taking the initiative, that doesn't say anything about you. It says something about them and the kind of effort they're willing to put into the relationship. And here's the key to understanding that their behavior is not a reflection of your worth. Setting boundaries is crucial when it comes to maintaining your sense of self-worth. Boundaries are the invisible lines that protect your emotional health, your time, and your energy. Without boundaries, you can easily fall into the trap of being undervalued, overextended, and ultimately emotionally drained. Setting clear boundaries with others isn't about being harsh or unkind. It's about knowing what you will and will not tolerate in any relationship, whether it's a friendship, a romantic relationship, or even a professional connection. Imagine you're in a situation where someone never calls or texts you first. If you're constantly the one putting in all the effort chasing after them, you might begin to feel like your time is not being respected. You might even begin to question your own value. This is where setting boundaries becomes essential. You must ask yourself, am I okay with this? Is this the kind of treatment I deserve? And the moment you ask yourself this question, you've already taken the first step toward valuing yourself. Boundaries might look like limiting the amount of time and energy you spend on people who are not reciprocating your efforts. It might mean stepping back from relationships where you feel emotionally drained. It might even involve having tough conversations with people saying, hey, I'm putting in a lot of energy here and I need to know that you're equally invested. Healthy boundaries communicate that you respect yourself enough to not settle for anything less than what you deserve. They are not walls to push people away, but rather fences that allow only those who respect your worth to enter your space. But here's the hard truth: not everyone will respect your boundaries, especially if they've been accustomed to you accepting less. Some people may get upset or try to guilt trip you into accepting their behavior. But this is when you need to stand firm. Setting boundaries is an act of self-care and self-love. It's a way of saying, I know my worth, and I will not allow anyone to treat me as less than I deserve. And the more you practice this, the more you'll realize that you don't need anyone else to define your worth. When you value yourself, you naturally start attracting people who value you too. When you know your own worth, you won't settle for relationships that don't nourish you, that don't bring out the best in you. Instead, you'll create space for the relationships that lift you up, that honor your time and energy, and that are based on mutual respect. But let me be clear, valuing yourself doesn't mean you won't face challenges. It doesn't mean you won't experience times when others fail to appreciate you, when people don't call or text, or when relationships feel unbalanced. What it does mean is that you won't let those moments define you. You'll recognize them for what they are: temporary obstacles, and you'll move forward with the strength and confidence that comes from knowing you are enough, regardless of the situation. Your self-worth is not a gift someone else gives you. It's a gift you give to yourself. Don't wait for someone else to see your value. Recognize it in yourself first, and the rest of the world will begin to follow suit. Your boundaries will protect your peace, your time, and your emotional well-being. And when you walk through life with that kind of self-respect, you'll find that others will respect you too. Effective communication is one of the most vital skills in any aspect of life, whether in relationships, the workplace, or personal growth. When we're talking about communication, it's not just about the words we speak, but the intent, clarity, and respect behind those words. It's also about knowing how and when to communicate, and how to listen as much as you talk. Let's break down the importance of communication, especially in situations where you might find yourself wondering why others aren't reaching out first. Communication becomes the bridge to understanding, clarity, and resolution. First, let's consider the fundamental truth about communication: it's a two-way street. While you may feel frustrated or hurt because someone isn't initiating contact, it's important to realize that you can't assume the worst without taking responsibility for how you communicate as well. Effective communication starts with being honest about your feelings, needs, and expectations. You can't expect someone to know how you feel or what you need if you don't share it clearly. This doesn't mean that you should demand or pressure someone into texting or calling you. Communication isn't about forcing someone to meet your needs, it's about expressing your own needs in a respectful, open manner. Ask for what you need, but don't demand it. The key here is being vulnerable in your approach. Vulnerability isn't a weakness, it's a strength. It's being able to communicate your feelings without fear of judgment or rejection. When you find yourself always waiting for others to reach out first, take a moment to think about what you're truly feeling. Are you seeking attention, validation, or connection? Are you feeling ignored, neglected, or unappreciated? Once you identify the root of your emotions, it's time to express them in a way that fosters understanding. If someone isn't calling or texting you first, communicate how that lack of initiative makes you feel. But do so in a way that invites dialogue, not defensiveness. For example, saying, I've noticed that I often initiate our conversations and it leaves me feeling like the effort isn't mutual. I'd love to hear your thoughts on that. Is far more constructive than you never call me first. What's your problem? The first approach opens the door for a meaningful conversation, while the second could lead to a confrontation. Another aspect of effective communication is clarity. It's not enough to just speak, you need to speak clearly and be understood. It's important to communicate your expectations and your boundaries in a way that leaves no room for confusion. If you're constantly the one who's initiating contact, you need to express this in a straightforward manner, outlining what you need from the relationship. Sometimes people don't realize they're not making the same effort you are. They might think everything's fine, while in reality you're feeling undervalued. It's your responsibility to clearly express that dynamic. But effective communication is also about timing. There's a right moment to address issues, and it's important to be aware of that. Don't bring up your concerns when emotions are running high. Timing is key in ensuring your message is received with the respect and attention it deserves. When emotions are too raw, it can cloud the effectiveness of what you're trying to communicate. Sometimes it's better to step back, gather your thoughts, and approach the conversation with a calm and measured mindset. This also applies to when you decide to communicate. If you're always the one initiating and you feel the need to take a step back, don't be afraid to do so. Let the silence speak for itself for a while, and when you do speak, make sure it's coming from a place of self-respect and clarity. Let's talk about listening. It's often overlooked in the communication process, but it's just as important as speaking. Communication isn't a one-way street, it's about exchange. Once you express your feelings, listen to the other person's response. They might be dealing with something that's preventing them from reaching out, and understanding their perspective can go a long way in fostering mutual respect. Active listening is about giving someone your full attention without interrupting or rushing to judgment. It's about being empathetic and understanding their side of things, even if you don't agree with everything they say. Now let's return to the situation where you feel like you're always the one reaching out. Be proactive in communicating your needs, but also be open to hearing the other person's perspective. Don't just ask, "Why don't you call or text me first?" Ask, "Is there something going on in your life that's keeping you from reaching out?" I want to understand this kind of open-ended question invites honesty and offers the other person the space to share their side. It shows that you care about more than just your own feelings, you care about the relationship as a whole. Communication is all about creating a space where both parties feel heard, valued, and respected. If you find yourself in a situation where others aren't reaching out first, don't let that silence linger. Instead, step into the conversation with honesty, vulnerability, and an open heart. Express your needs and listen to the other person's response. Build the bridge of understanding, and you'll find that relationships grow stronger, deeper, and more meaningful as a result. Communication is the key to turning frustration into clarity and confusion into connection. Empowerment is not something that's given to you by others, it's something you take for yourself. It's a process of recognizing your own strength, abilities, and control over your life, and then using that awareness to make deliberate choices that improve your situation. When faced with the challenge of feeling ignored or undervalued, as in the case where others never call or text you first, the true path to empowerment lies in taking action. Action transforms feelings of helplessness into purpose, and it shifts your focus from waiting on others to proactively building the life and relationships you deserve. Let's first break down the concept of empowerment through action. To be empowered means to feel confident in your own ability to influence the course of events in your life. This comes from recognizing that you are the one in control of your actions and decisions, not anyone else. When you find yourself frustrated by someone's lack of initiative, the first step is to understand that you can choose how you respond to the situation. You have the power to decide whether to continue investing energy in a one-sided relationship or to redirect your focus towards something more meaningful. You have the power to decide when to walk away, when to communicate your needs, and when to protect your peace. Empowerment through action means taking charge of the narrative in your life. For instance, instead of passively waiting for someone to reach out to you, consider what actions you can take that will help you regain a sense of control and fulfillment. Do things that feed your soul, whether that's dedicating time to a passion project, developing a new skill, focusing on your career, or nurturing other relationships that uplift you. You don't have to wait for someone to call or text in order to feel valued. You can create your own sense of purpose and connection through the actions you take each day. When you're in a situation where you feel neglected or overlooked, it's easy to fall into a cycle of frustration. You might feel like you're constantly giving, constantly reaching out, and yet not receiving the same level of effort in return. The key to empowerment here is to stop waiting for validation from others. The truth is, waiting around for someone else to make you feel important is not only exhausting, but it also leaves you dependent on external factors for your sense of self-worth. Empowerment comes when you start creating your own worth from the inside, from the actions you take, from the things you achieve, and from the relationships you cultivate. Redirect your energy. Instead of wasting your time and emotional energy on someone who isn't meeting you halfway, channel that energy into areas of your life that will help you grow and thrive. Get involved in activities that make you feel alive, whether it's pursuing a new hobby, joining a community group, or focusing on self-care. Take action to move closer to your personal and professional goals. You have within you the power to shape your reality, but it requires deliberate effort. Empowerment is rooted in the idea that you can take meaningful steps toward the life you desire, regardless of what's going on around you. Sometimes empowerment also means setting boundaries and respecting your own needs. If you're always the one reaching out to someone who isn't reciprocating, taking action might involve having a difficult conversation. You don't need to beg for someone's attention or affection. Instead, you can assertively communicate how you feel and what you need. This kind of action is about honoring your own worth and making sure others understand that you're not willing to settle for less than you deserve. Empowerment through action means advocating for yourself in ways that protect your emotional well-being and preserve your peace of mind. In addition to focusing on your own personal growth, empowerment through action also involves taking steps to build healthier relationships. If you find that someone isn't calling or texting you first, instead of retreating into feelings of resentment or frustration, empower yourself by assessing the situation from a place of clarity. Ask yourself what you truly want from the relationship and whether that aligns with your actions and expectations. Empowerment means understanding when it's time to walk away from relationships that aren't serving you and when it's time to engage in more balanced, mutual connections. If you're consistently the only one initiating, empower yourself by taking a step back and allowing the other person to step up if they truly value the relationship. It's important to recognize that empowerment is not about controlling others or forcing them to act in a certain way. Rather, it's about recognizing your own power and choosing how you engage with the world around you. You can't change how others behave, but you can change how you react to their behavior. If someone consistently neglects to reach out, take that as a sign to evaluate whether this relationship is still aligned with your values and needs. Taking action in this way is empowering because it puts you back in the driver's seat of your life, allowing you to steer it in a direction that better serves your well-being. Empowerment through action means you stop waiting for others to dictate your happiness, your worth, or your success. You take charge of your own life and you make choices that align with your goals and values. When you focus on what you can control and put your energy into things that enrich your life, you begin to attract people and experiences that align with that empowered mindset. So when someone doesn't call or text you first, don't let that hold you back. Take the power back. Focus on what truly matters and let that drive your actions forward. Empowerment is all about taking the reins of your own life and moving confidently toward the future you deserve. One of the most important skills we can develop in life, especially in relationships, is the ability to recognize red flags. These are signs that something may not be right, or that a situation, relationship, or person may not be as healthy or genuine as we would like them to be. When someone doesn't call or text you first, it might seem like a small thing at first, something easily overlooked or brushed aside. But the truth is, consistently disregarding your feelings or effort is a red flag. Recognizing these signs early on can save you time, energy, and emotional pain in the long run. Understanding red flags. Red flags are warning signs that something is amiss. They aren't always blatant or obvious, but over time they accumulate and point to underlying issues that cannot be ignored. In the context of relationships, whether personal, romantic, or professional, red flags are often signs that a person may not be as invested respectful, or emotionally available as they should be. When someone repeatedly fails to take the initiative to call or text you, it's a signal that the relationship may be unbalanced and your needs might not be a priority to them. But it's important to note that red flags aren't necessarily deal breakers on their own. Instead, they are opportunities for self-reflection and clarity. Recognizing them early allows you to address the issue before it becomes something larger, and ultimately it gives you the power to make informed choices about how to move forward. If you choose to ignore these signs or downplay their significance, you risk staying in situations that drain your energy, diminish your self-worth, and prevent you from finding people who will respect and value you. Common red flags in relationships. There are many different red flags to be aware of, but some of the most common ones involve lack of communication, effort, and reciprocity. If someone is constantly unavailable or unresponsive, whether through text, calls, or in-person interactions, this is a clear sign that they may not prioritize you or the relationship. This isn't about occasional lapses in communication. We all get busy from time to time. Rather, it's about a consistent pattern of ignoring your attempts to connect or not showing any interest in initiating contact. Another red flag is when someone only reaches out when it's convenient for them. Maybe they'll call or text you when they're bored or need something, but you rarely hear from them otherwise. This one-sided effort can make you feel like an afterthought rather than a priority, and over time it can lead to feelings of frustration, neglect, and emotional exhaustion. Relationships are meant to be reciprocal. If you're putting in all the effort while the other person is putting in none, it's an indication that their commitment to the relationship might be lacking. Moreover, emotional unavailability is a significant red flag in relationships. If someone consistently avoids deeper conversations, refuses to share personal thoughts or feelings, or shuts you out when you try to connect on an emotional level, it's a clear sign that they may not be ready or willing to engage fully. Emotional unavailability can manifest in many ways, from avoiding conversations about the future to deflecting or shutting down when you try to talk about anything meaningful. This is not only frustrating, but also prevents the growth of a healthy, connected relationship. Trusting your instincts. One of the most powerful tools you have when recognizing red flags is your intuition. Often our gut feelings or instincts can tell us more than logic or reasoning ever could. If something feels off, it's worth taking the time to reflect and ask yourself why. Maybe you sense that something isn't quite right, even though you can't put your finger on it immediately. Trust that feeling. Your intuition is there to protect you, to help you avoid situations that could harm you emotionally or mentally. When your instinct tells you that someone isn't fully committed, or that you're always the one putting in effort, don't dismiss those feelings, pay attention to them. Recognizing red flags also requires self-awareness. Are you settling for behavior that doesn't align with your values or needs? Are you ignoring the signs because you're afraid of being alone? Or are you so focused on making the relationship work that you overlook the unhealthy dynamics? It's crucial to get in touch with your own needs and desires. What do you want out of a relationship? Do the actions of the other person match what you're seeking? Are they treating you with the respect and consideration you deserve? Taking action. Once you've recognized a red flag, the next step is to take action. This doesn't necessarily mean ending the relationship immediately, but it does require that you confront the issue. Open, honest communication is key here. You can express how you feel about the behavior you're noticing and see if the other person is willing to make changes or have a conversation about it. If they are open to change, that's a positive sign. But if they react defensively or make no effort to address the issue, it's time to seriously consider whether this relationship is worth continuing. Remember, your emotional well-being should always come first. Don't feel guilty for protecting your peace. Recognizing red flags and taking action to address them isn't about being overly critical or picky. It's about ensuring that you are in a relationship where you feel valued, respected, and cared for. If the person you're investing your time and energy into isn't offering the same in return, it's not a healthy dynamic. Don't be afraid to let go of relationships that don't serve your best interests. Moving forward. Once you recognize the red flags and take action, you can move forward with confidence, knowing that you are making decisions based on what's best for you. Recognizing red flags is about more than just avoiding toxic situations. It's about empowering yourself to create relationships and connections that are built on mutual respect, effort, and understanding. By acknowledging these signs early, you create the space for healthier relationships to grow, ones where both parties are equally invested in the relationship and its success. One of the most powerful ways to shift your focus away from the actions or inactions of others is by prioritizing personal growth. Personal growth isn't just about achieving career success or hitting milestones. It's about improving your overall well-being, developing emotional resilience, expanding your knowledge, and becoming the best version of yourself. When you focus on growing as an individual, you not only build self-confidence and self-worth, but also free yourself from being overly dependent on others to feel validated. Your growth should never be contingent on someone else's actions. It should be a continuous, independent journey that is fully within your control. Investing in yourself. Personal growth begins with investing in yourself, your health, your skills, your mindset, and your emotional well-being. In the context of relationships, when you find that others aren't giving you the attention or effort you desire, it can often lead to frustration and feelings of inadequacy. But instead of letting those frustrations consume you, turn your focus inward. Recognize that the only approval you need is your own, and work on strengthening that approval through positive actions. Start by investing time in activities that nurture your body and mind. Exercise, healthy eating, and proper sleep all contribute to physical well-being, while mindfulness, journaling, and meditation enhance your emotional resilience. By committing to improving your physical and mental health, you build a strong foundation for personal growth that isn't reliant on anyone else's actions or opinions. This will give you the strength to navigate challenges in relationships without feeling emotionally drained or depleted. Additionally, skill development is an important aspect of personal growth. Whether it's learning a new language, taking up a hobby, or advancing in your career, investing in your skills and talents empowers you to feel competent and accomplished. Each time you achieve something, no matter how small, it reinforces the idea that you are capable, valuable, and worthy of success. This sense of achievement reduces the need to seek constant validation from others and helps you build a sense of pride that is independent of external approval. Emotional intelligence and resilience. Focusing on personal growth also means cultivating emotional intelligence, the ability to understand and manage your own emotions and empathize with the emotions of others. Emotional intelligence plays a key role in how we interact with people, and it allows us to navigate situations like feeling neglected or unappreciated with greater resilience. When someone doesn't call or text you first, it's natural to feel disappointed or frustrated. However, emotional intelligence empowers you to understand your emotions and respond in a constructive way, rather than reacting impulsively or dwelling on negative feelings. It enables you to recognize that your feelings are valid, but you don't have to be controlled by them. You can acknowledge your frustration without letting it dictate your actions or your self-worth. Building emotional resilience is another important aspect of personal growth. Life will always present challenges, including difficult relationships and situations that make us feel overlooked or undervalued. Resilience allows you to bounce back from these challenges, learn from them, and grow stronger. It's the ability to face adversity without losing sight of who you are or what you stand for. By strengthening your resilience, you gain the ability to stay grounded and focused on your own goals, no matter what external factors may be happening around you. Setting and achieving personal goals. Another critical component of personal growth is setting and achieving your own goals. Goals give you a sense of purpose and direction, helping you stay focused on what truly matters to you. Whether your goals are related to your career, education, health, or relationships, setting clear, achievable targets can keep you on track and prevent you from becoming fixated on external validation. When you're focused on your personal growth, you're less likely to be distracted by the behavior of others. If someone isn't calling or texting you first, it won't feel like the end of the world because you have other areas of your life that are fulfilling and rewarding. By setting goals and making progress toward them, You create a sense of accomplishment that is rooted in your own efforts, not the actions of those around you. Moreover, achieving your personal goals reinforces your belief in your own abilities. The more you accomplish, the more you realize that you are capable of creating the life you want. This kind of personal empowerment makes you less susceptible to feeling undervalued or unappreciated by others. You come to understand that your happiness and fulfillment come from within, not from someone else's behavior. Cultivating positive relationships. While focusing on personal growth means looking inward, it also includes developing healthy, positive relationships with others. The relationships you nurture should be ones that contribute to your well-being, growth, and happiness. Surround yourself with people who uplift and support you, and distance yourself from those who drain your energy or treat you poorly. Healthy relationships are reciprocal. They involve mutual respect, care, and effort. If someone isn't calling or texting you first, instead of viewing it as a personal failure or a sign of rejection, use it as an opportunity to assess whether that relationship is aligned with your values and your goals. Are you putting in more effort than the other person? Are they treating you with the respect and consideration you deserve? Personal growth means having the strength to set boundaries, let go of relationships that are no longer serving you, and focus on those that add value to your life. In addition to building stronger relationships with others, focusing on personal growth also means cultivating a strong relationship with yourself. Self-love and self-compassion are essential aspects of personal growth. When you love and respect yourself, you no longer depend on others to fill that void. You become your own source of validation and support. This makes you less vulnerable to feelings of inadequacy when someone doesn't reach out first. You begin to understand that your value doesn't depend on the actions of others, it's inherent, and it comes from how you treat yourself. Focusing on personal growth is one of the most powerful ways to shift your mindset and empower yourself in any situation. By investing in yourself, your health, your skills, your emotional intelligence, and your goals, you not only build a life that is fulfilling and meaningful, but you also gain the resilience and strength to handle life's challenges, including unbalanced relationships. When you prioritize your own growth, you stop relying on others to define your worth and start defining it for yourself. And in doing so, you'll create the foundation for a life filled with purpose, confidence, and fulfillment, where external circumstances, like someone not calling or texting you first, no longer have the power to shake your sense of self. The journey of navigating relationships where others may not call or text you first is a profound opportunity for self-discovery and growth. It teaches you to value your own worth beyond external validation and empowers you to take control of your life. By recognizing red flags, you gain clarity on what is truly healthy for you and have the strength to protect your emotional well-being. Recognizing these signs allows you to make informed decisions, ensuring that you aren't stuck in unbalanced dynamics. Through empowering yourself with action, you create the life and relationships you desire, grounded in purpose and initiative. You stop waiting for others to define your happiness and begin to take charge of your own destiny. Meanwhile, by focusing on personal growth, you lay the foundation for a fulfilled and meaningful life, one where your sense of self-worth is driven by your own efforts and accomplishments. Personal growth builds resilience, strengthens your boundaries, and ensures you never depend on others for validation. Ultimately, the key to thriving in such situations lies not in changing others, but in shifting your focus inward, understanding your worth, and becoming the best version of yourself. The power lies in your ability to walk confidently through life, knowing that your happiness, peace, and fulfillment are yours to create. As you embrace this mindset, you will attract healthier, more balanced relationships and build a life that is authentically your own, one where you are no longer waiting for anyone else to call or text first, because you already have everything you need within yourself.